Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 2 Expert. So, after last episode, okay, I let my ore processing system run for a bit, and you can see it's kicked through a bunch of ores, and it ran through all that copper, it's been working on iron, it ran a little bit of tin, a little bit of gold, and then I hopped on, it was like the next day, because of course I've been busy, with the house stuff and everything. And so, I hopped on the next day, and I was going to start, putting down facades, and because I've got this open floor here, and I thought, well, okay, the system's good. And, I thought the only place I might need to access is, adding, the stuff here, additional furnaces and things like that, and adding in, maybe some more compressors back here, but, I could go ahead and facade the majority of this, and it would be great. And then I logged, whenever I got on, I noticed that nothing was running. And I was like, oh, is my ore processing system done? Well, no, it's not. Guess what? XNet, well, it's actually not XNet's fault. But XNet, we're not going to be able to use it. And, I mean, what it is, mechanism, there's a bug in mechanism that the devs have known about for like a year and a half or longer, I don't know. And it's literally like one line of code that needs to be changed, but they don't really care to change it. Of course, I know the main dev is busy with real life stuff, but it's the the people kind of upkeeping it. They seem to have no interest in fixing it, and basically the cause of it, or what causes it, is whenever the pack starts up, or in our case, whenever the server resets, mechanism it's basically the mechanism blocks. I don't exactly know all the mumbo jumbo of it, but it flags them as dirty blocks. The blocks are mechanism. And so anything they're connected to, it'll cause them to load earlier than intended. But anyways, it causes an issue with XNet. It causes it to load before it's had time to actually load properly. And so any areas that are chunk loaded, basically, will load. And if any of those are connected to anything, if XNet is connected to anything at all from mechanism, what happens is your controllers lose everything. And so, of course, being on a server, it's not really safe to use. If you're in single player, just don't plug your mechanism stuff up to a controller. On a server, it's a little bit more difficult because, we've let everybody know, but, if we get a new player and we forget to say something and, they hurry up to get to mechanism and XNet and they plug it up, there goes the server. Or there goes the controller. And so last night I was thinking that we were under the impression that if we broke all the mechanism stuff that was connected up via controller and then restarted the server, that would fix it. Well, so I went around and I broke all the connectors that were connected up to mechanism, and I just placed them there on the ground or in chests, depending on how many they had, and let everybody know. And so then we restarted the server, and guess what? This is what I've gotten now. This is not mine. This is not my base at all. You can see fermenter, melon macerator. I've never even made a drum. I don't have anything plugged up just directly to a drawer. And the coordinates are 25, 21, 80, 16, 38. I am 1653, 22, 47, 53. So it's like... other side of the world, basically. Well, not really other side of the world, but thousands of blocks away. Not really sure whose it is, but it's not mine. And somehow my controller is reading these blocks. Of course, you can see there's no data here. It's lost all the data from whoever's connection it is. And of course, it's not connected. I don't have my cables connected anywhere other than just the stuff that we've been setting up and doing on camera. So needless to say, XNet is not usable. I mean, sure, if we broke everything, but okay, I tested in my test world, and I can replicate it 100% of the time. I basically took a controller, plugged up a connector to a chest, plugged up another connector to the controller, and then plugged up a third one to a metallurgic infuser. Shut down my single player and restarted it. Pew, there goes everything. And basically what'll happen is it won't display anything at all. It'll just act like there's no controllers. And what you have to do to fix it, I found in my single player world, is you have to go through and you have to break the controller, you have to break every single connector, and you have to break every single wire, and basically just rebuild everything. And that's the only way I was able to get it fixed. So basically, it's just not usable in the pack. I mean, single player, yeah, you could probably use it just fine. Just don't plug up your mechanism stuff. Server side, it's not really trustworthy enough because of one accident and there goes everything. And I mean, it's already big enough. Our little network, just in a couple episodes of doing XNet, our network is so big, I don't want to have to rebuild all this. Especially not twice or 3 times. You know, I don't want to have to do that. So I was like, okay, well, we got to change over to something else. And there was 2 major options that are kind of that we could do, okay? One of them is integrated dynamics. Absolutely love this mod. I do quite enjoy it. The readers and all the different stuff you could do, it's super powerful. And it can literally do just about anything as long as you're skilled with it. And so I was like, you know what? I think we might go with integrated dynamics. Because Insane started talking about it and I was like, oh yeah, like, it's really not very late game. I mean, I could do all this stuff now except for if you get into anything that takes the logic director, you need the crystallized chorus. You know, we don't have chorus, but I can set up an item system without any kind of logic director. So I was like, well, maybe we'll get into that. And so I went into my test world because in the past, I know since they added the item transfer system, it hasn't been the most stable thing. It's not reliable, let's say. So I went into a test world and I spent a while testing it out. And guess what? We're not going to be using that either. The major issues being randomly my interfaces would just stop working and they'd have to be broken and replaced. Not as big of a deal as the XNet stuff, but still annoying because, like, literally in my test world, my interfaces were hanging up and locking up and having to be broken and replaced about every 5 minutes. And then on top of that, something that was just horrible that I just couldn't do is I had my, like, for example, I had a analog crafter set up and just kind of testing it. It was making melon slices from melon blocks, you know, nothing really elaborate, just put in a melon, you get 9 melon slices, and then it was pumping them back into the network. Well, I filled up a drawer. It had 64 stacks in it. It was just a single drawer, 64 stacks of melon slices. The analog crafter backed up as intended. And although the interface kept locking up and I had to break it and replace it because it would stop sending melon blocks to the analog crafter. But what ended up happening was, okay, the drawer was filled, 64 stacks exactly. The analog crafter stopped running, it was backed up. And I would pull out 1 melon slice. Yeah, see, Insane's actually messing with it. He's having the same issues that I told him about. Because he was wanting to use it too. And so I would pull out 1 melon slice, just 1 melon slice, and it would send 3 to the drawer. So I was losing 2 melon slices every time that it would send items. You know, because it was sending too many, and the melon slices would just vanish. They wouldn't, like, pop out of the system. They wouldn't go back to the analog crafter. They wouldn't be in the line, and then maybe, you know, because, I mean, it moves everything instantaneously, so. But basically, they would just vanish. Which, melon slices, I don't really care about melon slices. But what if it's like deluxe chicken curry? You know, I pull one out to fill out a stack that I've got, and then it wastes 2. That's going to get a little bit annoying. I mean, even then, it's still automatic, and it's all backed up and everything, but it's still annoying. And then if I get into things that are actually more rare or important to me, I don't want things being wasted. I don't like the idea that things can just randomly get just gone. You know. So, we're going to go with Plan C. Our final plan. The plan that it shouldn't backfire in any possible way. That is Ender.io. Okay. I feel like Ender.io conduits are way overused. XNet, Integrated Dynamics, both a whole lot more interesting to use. And funnily enough, more powerful. But in the case of XNet and Integrated Dynamics, they're pretty much unusable on this, at least in my opinion. So we're going to go with Ender.io. That's really all I know to do at this point. I wanted to go with something a little bit more interesting, but we're going to go with Ender.io. But we're not going to rush to Ender.io. What we're going to do is we are actually going to go with Nuclear Craft to do it. And that is the alloy... oh wait. It's the alloy furnace, right? Yeah. Right here. The alloy furnace is actually super cheap. It's super cheap. we're going to need to get ourselves 4 basic platings and a copper solenoid, which, look at that. These come from dungeons. Very, very common. Very, very common in dungeons. There we go. Copper solenoid. Got all my images turned off just because I was getting that block lag. And then we're going to need 2 bricks, a piece of redstone, and a furnace. That's simple. And I think I've actually got... look at that. I was actually out just earlier exploring to get another spectre coil, because I knew we were going to need it for this. I was doing some testing. These things actually eat quite a bit of power. So that's something that you have to be prepared for. Goal reached, smelting up a storm. Alright, so let's pop down to the controller, and let's pull this up. This thing, it might as well just... Honestly, it might as well just go in a trash can at this point. But I might use it for something, you know. We never know. So, I'm going to go ahead and vein mine up all these connectors. And these go... Okay, that goes up to my IC2 area. Yeah, I pulled up a ton of network cables, actually. Oh, goodness gracious. And I'll leave the connectors for now, because I'm going to have to reconnect everything now with Ender.io. I'm actually dreading this. I'm going to be doing a lot of it off camera, so just a heads up. We'll cover the basics of it. I do apologize, because I feel like we've been messing with this same setup for episode after episode. But hopefully this is the last time, because I don't see Ender.io letting us down. So the alloy furnace, what we're going to need to do, we're going to need to make the pulsating iron. Okay, this right here, and it's just a combination. You can make it a few different ways, but it's a combination of ender pearls and iron. Not terribly expensive. Look at this. We have almost 25 stacks of iron, 31.5 stacks of copper. We've got a little over 3 stacks. It hasn't actually ran 10. That's just all secondaries. Almost 10 stacks of gold at the moment, before it shut down. So it was running great. I mean, it was kicking through stuff and everything was beautiful, and then all of a sudden I get on and it has stopped up and it's just not going to work. And oh, it was so frustrating, because I was letting it run, you know, just while I was gone, you know, working at the house, that kind of thing, and I was very happy with it. And then what do you know? So our alloy furnace, I don't know, for right now we'll put it we'll put it just right over here. And basically the way this works, if I was to put just one spectre coil and to toss in a bit of iron, a bit of ender pearls, it's not going to run until it fills up on power. And that's just the way that this works, because it's going to give it a second. There we go. You can see it doesn't actually have enough power to run it all the way to the end with one spectre coil, because it just eats through the power and then it restarts. So that's something that we're not going to be able to do. It's just running one spectre coil on it. So it's totally filled up, but it doesn't quite have enough power to make it to the tip of the arrow. So we're going to put a second spectre coil on here. And now it's going to fill up a little bit faster. And it's going to eat through that power and make a pulsating iron, and then it's going to have to recharge. Now I actually found from testing 2 spectre coils is a sweet spot. So if you're going with spectre coils, just do 2. And the reason being, I found that if I added 3 spectre coils, or even worse, 4 spectre coils to it, what happens is it'll fill up, it'll run, and it'll make 1. And then it's going to hit the bottom, and the power is going to fight it as it's draining, you know, as it's basically just restarting. Because if you notice, whenever the arrow goes up, this fills up, and then it drops real quick. Well, when there was 3 or 4 spectre coils, and it got worse the more I added on there, they would try to fight it, and so it would like basically lock up for about, with 4 spectre coils, about 5 or 6 seconds. It would lock up, and the power would fluctuate, and it was trying to craft, but there wasn't enough power, so it kept restarting, and it fought it for about, you know, like 5 or 6 seconds, and then it would finally recharge, make 1. So I found that 2 was actually a sweet spot, because it doesn't really waste a lot of time. Makes 1, it recharges. It makes 1, it recharges, and that seems to do the trick. So, and that's how we're going to get pulsating iron. Super easy, super early game, which we'll get more into nuclear craft before long. I actually quite love that mod, and I haven't really had a chance to play with it a whole lot since you know, I did the spotlight on it forever ago. It just hasn't shown up in packs, and the couple packs that I have played that had it, like Craft of the Titans, tended to be very unstable packs. Not due to nuclear craft, but they did just tend to be very unstable packs. Alright, so what we're going to be making is, of course, conduits. So we're going to have to make some conduit binder composite, which is a combination of gravel, sand, and clay. Conduits are super cheap. I mean, that's standard recipe. It's not like they're just super cheap in this pack. I mean, they're just cheap in general. And honestly, XNet, probably a little bit more expensive to do because not every, you actually have to make connectors. And connectors were actually semi-expensive. They required 9 pieces of gold for 2 of them. However, Ender IO conduits, super cheap. Super, super cheap. Let me get some clay. Because clay, sand, and gravel, living on the ocean, you have like infinite of those things. So, there we go. I don't really need that many, but let's go ahead and whip ourselves up a bunch of conduit binder. And there we go. And this stuff is actually going to smelt on not grout advancement. You're going to get double on that. So we're going to have enough conduit binder to do a stack of crafts, and each craft, of course, makes 8 conduits, so we've got plenty of conduit binder for a while. So, of course, we're going to use our induction furnace. Well, no, wait a second, it's out of power, because none of my system's working. So, I tell you what, let's go old-fashioned here. Alright, we'll get that stuff smelting up. And in addition to item conduits, which item conduits are standard, just pulsating iron nuggets, we're also going to want some fluid conduits. Let's go ahead and take these. Let's just break these down. There's quite a bit of pulsating iron. And then in addition, we are going to want to get ourselves some fluid conduits. And I'm fine with the tier 1. We're not going to be eating through liquids just crazy fast. But anyways, if you take 8 glass, place it like that, you get 8 quite clear glass. And that is what we need. We need quite clear glass for the fluid conduit because it requires some type of fused glass. And let's go ahead and craft up some item conduits. There we go. A little bit of fluid conduits. There we go. And we should get a couple advancements, item transfer, and basic fluids. Okay. So now that we've got that stuff. Downstairs, I'm actually not going to need any filters. So I'm going to set up the downstairs section first. Then we'll move upstairs and we'll get into a little bit of filtering. Nothing too elaborate, but right here, these 2 fridges, I'm going to be doing most of this off camera. I'm just going to quickly show you. Plus the conduits are different. They look a lot better. I love the textures on these for the new Ender IO. There's some new features in the new Ender IO here. And you'll notice that this is a little bit different. I love it so much. Instead of having to flip through the tabs, you can do insert, extract, I'm going to set this to insert, and we're going to leave it on the green channel. And that's all we need to do. And then right here, we're going to say insert, leave it on the green channel, and then let's just run this back. Of course, it's going to want to connect to, such as Ender IO, it wants to connect to everything that it can connect to. Because basically what I'm going to do, those fridges, all I need to do is extract. The fridge handles all the filtering on its own. And then at the controller, we're going to go ahead and set this to, we're going to say extract, always active. And then we'll also say that you can insert on the brown channel, is what we'll do. Or actually, we can set it to the green channel, really. As long as you have auto or self-feed disabled, it's not going to cause an issue. Because it'll only pull items out to send it elsewhere. So that should be good. And then for the auto crafters. Once again, we don't have to filter those because if you recall, we didn't have to filter them with XNet either because these things filter themselves. So all we're going to do is just pull that off. We're going to place one right here, and we're going to say you can insert, you can also extract, self-feed is disabled, insert and extract, and actually we need to set these to always active. Okay, our gardens are back up and running. Everything on this lower section of the base is going. Crafters are running. These, I did filters. We're going to set up a filter on camera just in case you're wondering how it works, but we do have filters down through all 6 of these. Then they just pull out of the bottom. And then everything else is mainly harvesters just set to pull out items and feed into the drawer. And then over here, of course, this has a filter that's set to filter the cloth. So all of that stuff's running great. and all this is up and running. It did take a lot of conduit to run all of that. Now, we have one other connection that's actually going to connect to this conduit line. Just one. And then we will be done with this conduit line. But what we need to connect is we need to connect up our mechanism area. I mean, no, not mechanism. I got mechanism on the mind because I'm so irritated with that mod right now. Like, I love mechanism, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's one of my favorite tech mods. But I don't like that it's just not... Problems are there, and they know about them, but it's just not fixed. It's irritating, you know. But what we need to do... And actually, since I'm back here, I might as well go ahead and set up some of this stuff, too. So let's dig this stuff out. I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjusting. So what we're going to do is... I'm going to have to do a little bit of rearrangement here. This is fine where it's at. And the fluid solid canning machine is fine where it's at. It's got power from right there. And of course, this is just pushing over in that direction. So we don't have to worry too much about that. But what we are going to have to do is we're going to have to pull up this connection here. And we're going to have to, you know, run some item conduits. That is the semi-fluid generator. Let's pull that off. Let's see. I got to figure out exactly how I want to run this. Then we've got a fermenter here that's making our biogas. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a fluid conduit right here. And we're going to turn off the extract and the insert right there. And we're just going to extract here at the fermenter. And we're going to say always active. And we're going to have that push over to there. I'm going to need a Yeta wrench. I am indeed. So that is electrical steel and stone gear. Not a problem. I can actually craft that. But before we do that, let's go ahead and actually run this. We're going to say insert here. And we're going to put in a basic filter. And then all we do is hit edit filter settings. And we're just going to put melon in there. And that's how you set up a filter. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. But in case you are wondering... No, I'm actually going to have enough. Cool. Okay, so melon should be getting sent up to the macerator to make biochaff now. So let's pop up to the IC2 area. And I'm going to have to make a Yeta wrench. Now, luckily, I think we have pretty much everything that we need for that. Because I've gotten electrical steel from exploring. Oh, no, I don't have enough. I don't have quite enough. We can make an alloy furnace, though. We're going to need some silicon and some steel. Okay, so I'm going to have to make a manufactory then in order to get the silicon that we need. So the manufactory is pretty standard craft. That's not too bad at all. Unless your inventory is like mine is right now. Alright, give me just a second here. Oh, we just got a quest complete. Gate nuclear craft. Okay. Well, let's see what that is. Really quick. Gates, nuclear craft. We get 4 advanced plating or a loot chest. We'll take the loot chest. Because I've got so much advanced plating. That's... I find about that much in like chests, you know, when I'm exploring. So, we got 8 toasted westerns. Cool. We'll just put those away into a chest. Okay, we should be all set to run this now. So we're just going to set up our manufactory. Says a handy machine that has many uses. We're going to set this up like right here. And of course this is going to require a little bit of power, so let's stick that on there. And then we're going to toss in a little bit of sand. We're going to let it fill up. And we're going to see if this will actually process with only 1. If not, I can move 2 of them over. It's not a big deal. There we go. There's a couple pieces of silicon. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull this out. And we're done with that for right now. Okay. And then we're going to toss in our... let me go get a couple pieces of steel here. Which, by the way, we have a stack and a half of steel. So, I was running the steel, and then I realized, oh yeah, I don't have any power. So, or, you know, fluid, well, power and liquid fuel for the firebox. I didn't have that, so I don't know why I'm going to the blast furnace. So, I stopped running steel, but we'd already ran quite a bit of it, so... let's toss that and that. And, oh, that's too bad. And we're going to take our hammer. We're going to set this to output on the front. We'll set down our alloy furnace right there. And then we'll toss that in. And there we go. There's our electrical steel. Okay, now I don't need this anymore. All to make our Yeta wrench. So there we go. There's that. Alright. So now we should be back on track. Let me pull this up so I can get back here. There we go. And we're just going to connect this up so that this can feed the liquid fuel firebox from the fermenter. And then, well, actually, it's got a fluid ejector upgrade. So it was already feeding that, huh? Yeah, that's okay. We'll go ahead and just leave that there anyways. And then let's go ahead. We're going to have to run our fluids back and around through here, like to the semi-fluid generator for starters. It's going to have to go there. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to break off this connection. We don't want it to extract or insert into the sink. And then we can connect that over like so. There we go. And then I would like to have liquid storage going on, but I think what I'm going to do, yeah, I'm going to turn off the extract on this, so it's not just bouncing back and forth. We don't want it to extract at all. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have this cable come over and connect into that, like so. And then it can feed to the different tanks. And then what we'll do is we'll have a separate cable come out the top here. And it's going to feed into this line that comes over to that semi-fluid generator. And we're going to just say extract is always active. Okay, so it can feed over to this semi-fluid generator. And then what we'll do is we'll bring this other tank. Let's see. Let's go right over here. And we're going to make a conduit line. I'm going to have to make some more conduits. That's fine. But we're going to say extract is always active here as well. And then what we'll do is we'll just run it. And right over here, I'm going to go ahead and just pull up this insulated copper wire or copper cable. And instead of running it along that side, we are instead going to run it along this side over here. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up all of these connectors and all of these connectors. Okay. So now I just need some more conduit binder, which I've got, I've got a bunch making. So connected into there, and there we go. We've got our fluid running through here, and then I just need to pop down here. So there we go. Now we've got power being created again. Biogas is coming in from that tank. And I mean, it's only feeding from that one tank. Okay, so everything's all cleaned up over here. On the exterior here. Now we have to do this part, which is always fun. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm not going to do all this on camera because you guys have seen how the filters, and I'm really just filtering it exactly like we filtered it last episode. Just, I'm going to be using, of course, Ender.io filters instead of XNet filters. But aside from that, it's pretty much identical. But I am going to have to move over, some semi-fluid to here. And I'm just going to run this back. And we'll say insert. And we'll just run this right back along. And there we go. That's pumping over to our liquid-fueled firebox. Simple. Simple enough. And then for the compressors, I'll show you, well, basically I'm going to have everything right off of channels. I'm going to have to make some more conduits. Okay. I'm actually done with fluid conduits, though. I'm actually just going to dump some stuff into here just to get it out of the way for right now. It looks like it's drained out this tank. Yeah, it's drained out that tank, but that's fine. It's gonna catch up because I mean it's kicking through biomass right now, so that's not a problem. I am gonna have to deal with that as well, which is as simple as if we just put a conduit right there, and we're gonna say that this conduit extracts always active. It'll be able to pull out the fertilizer, and we just have to plug it into this line. So let me make up a bit more item conduits. But remember, our fertilizer is going down to the garden section, which actually kind of makes sense because, I mean, if we're going to use fertilizer, it would be down there in the gardens probably. Chances are. So take a look there, and our fertilizer is not... There we go. It just took a second. Fertilizer got pulled out. Perfect. And, of course, it did go down downstairs there. And really, I'm done back in there, I think. But over here, what I want to do is I'm going to set up the item conduits, and I'm going to pull up this connector for our item input, and I'm going to put item conduit right there. Right here, we're going to say you can extract always active. We're not going to have to actually insert anything into this, and it's going to be on the green channel. We'll leave it as the green channel. That's going to be our extraction line. But we are going to use some different channel colors in this case. And then over here, we'll go ahead and plug up the compressors. But we're actually going to use double filters for this. So for the first one, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. And item conduit setting right there, set to insert as well as extract. Insert is going to be on the, let's say, brown channel. Extract will be on the blue channel, let's say. This might change, and we'll say always active on that. And then over here, we'll do the same thing. Insert, brown channel, extract, blue channel, always active. And then let's go ahead and put in a filter. And we're just going to put our 5 dusts into there. Then we'll grab the next 5 dusts. And I'm actually going to go ahead and just put these into this one, so that both of these will have the bottoms done. And then we're going to plug up a conduit to like the back of this, let's say, and we're going to say extract on blue, always active, insert on brown, and then we're just going to connect that over, connect this over, and we should be good for now. And that's going to be all the bottom stuff. And then I'll quickly show you how I'm going to connect all that up real quick, and then we're going to end out because I know it's about wrapping up point. And this should be the last time that we're going to be sorting these same items with conduits. I just want to show you how we're doing everything. Alright, so basically what we're going to have up here is the item storage. It's just going to feed over. And, you know, we're going to have, on the macerators, we're going to have conduits right there, and we're just going to say, you know, you insert on green, you extract on, let's say, red. Okay, because we're not using the red channel, and it'll be always active. Okay. And then we're going to have insert on green, extract once again on red, always active. And then we'll have insert on green, extract on red, always active. And then the ore washing plants are going to insert on red in both cases. Because basically what's getting macerated is going to come straight to the ore washing plant. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have the ore washing plants then extract on brown, always active, and extract. I don't know why this one's not rendering. Extract on brown, always active. Now the thermal centrifuge is also, it's going to insert on brown. So anything that can go into the thermal centrifuge is going to go there. And we're going to set the priority up to, you know, say 10. And we don't have to worry about anything coming out of here and going into the compressor because this is all filtered. But dusts aren't going to be able to go into the thermal centrifuge. So we don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to have, right here, we're going to say the extraction is also on the brown channel on this side. Okay, and we'll say always active. Because what's going to happen is the stuff that gets done with the thermal centrifuge, if it can extract on the brown line, it will, and it'll go into the auto compressors. But if it can't extract to the compressors, it's not going to go to the other thermal centrifuges, which will be the only thing over here that's on the brown line. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to connect up our brown line and connect over like so. And you can see it's actually probably pulling some stuff out of here. Yeah, see? It's pulled that stuff out. It's went to the thermal centrifuge. The thermal centrifuge has started running. Now, it's not pulling out the stuff to go to the compressor because the compressor can't accept it. And so what we're going to do is, you can see the blue line here is the auto compressors that connect over. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a blue line right here. And we're going to say that you extract on blue, always active. Okay, so anything that can get smelted is going to get extracted. And then we're going to say that these are going to insert on blue, insert on blue, and insert on blue. And then they're going to extract on, let's say, black. Black will be the extraction. And see, it's getting stuff into the electric furnaces right now from different sources. You can see we got some gold. That is, of course, from the compressor line. And then everything over here should be running. Just a matter of like kind of refining it and cleaning it up. And then that all connects over to here. Okay, so we should be, yeah, see the macerators are getting stuff now. The ore washing plants are running. They're starting to get backed up though. And then we are also going to need to deal with the stone dust that these build up. And so what I might do, since this is extracting on brown, set up like a chest, like let's say right here. And we're going to say that this chest can insert that stone dust. And we're going to say that you can insert on brown with a filter only stone dust. Okay, and then you're going to extract on the black channel. Okay, that's going to be our insert line. And then we'll do that. And there we go. It's got stone dust in it. And then all we need to do is, yeah, that's all set up. Then all we need to do is just pop up to the storage room. And I'm gonna have to run these cables over just underneath the floor. And then all we have to do is just say that you insert on black, no extraction. Okay, so we should be getting all of the metals. Now, from the ore processing system, they should be coming right up here. The stone dust should be coming right up here. And everything should be good again. Should be. And I'm not seeing any issues. So, I'm going to take it. There we go. These have all ran all of their produce. That one's still running, but you can see the stuff's getting pulled out and going where it needs to go. Thermal centrifuge is running. Ore washing plant is running. And the crush, and this is. I need to set up another sink. I'll do that real quick off camera so that these can get some water. So I know it's wrapping up point, so I am going to end out this episode here. Next episode we'll actually get into something new. And I know this episode probably ran a little bit over. I apologize, but I kind of wanted to just get that set up in case you had any questions about the Ender IO setup. Get that set up so it's done. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. Once again, I do apologize that we pretty much did the last episode's thing all over again, just with different conduits. But such is Minecraft, though. But anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care. Stay safe. I'll see you guys then.